so now I'm going to have... Okay, there we go. Now we're back up. Okay, and I'm still under 30%, and I just did a full restart of the stream, so that's good. Okay, let me grab that and send that through the chat. Oh yeah, how's that been? I'll say, did you get the email already? Because mine, I think, is still... Oh, there it is. It just came through. Tagged you in this as well as cookies enabled, so it should post across like a whole bunch of credit. Hopefully, so maybe we'll get some people. Let me pull up and see. Can you guys still see my screen and what I'm doing over here? It's going to be me jumping around a lot, so I'm really sorry about that. I am doing the best I can. Let me bump this to a spare window, so that way I have access to that. It's one chat, and I'm in Facebook, drag it over. Let's get this up, and ready for the show. Okay, and then, I was going to say, you got that RAM upgrade in there too, right? So it's like a little bit of both. Nice. Wow. Wow. Holy crapola. Yeah, that's like night and day difference. Here, I'm going to recenter you a little bit here. Get that looking better. I got to fix my window as well. Cool. Lock. Sweet. Okay, guys, let's do this. As I say, I'm looking into CPU upgrades for myself because they just shockingly came way down in price. But I don't really need one just yet. It's just something I've been looking into. But we'll see. I'll let you know if I do any drastic upgrades on my side here. So far, so good. I might have a CPU for you to get in the future. Yeah, so I think you're probably an AM3 Plus board, maybe? You might be AM4, I really don't remember. Okay, I was gonna say, if you're AM4, you can take my CPU current. Should be nice. Oh, so that's probably what they changed, too. We need to take the screws off the back and everything. Yup. Okay. Yeah. I had to do the same thing for my sister's computer too. Yeah. It should be worth it. So you can use it in the future, which is so nice. Oh man. Right, because those are starting to come way down too. And they're starting to get really crazy fast. That's why I was like, man, I could easily upgrade mine. It's like $150 for like a massive upgrade. I could get 2 more cores and double my speed, or almost triple my core speed with like $150 upgrade. Like, it's amazing how much more they can cram into those chips and all this other great stuff. Right. And you do have 4 spare cores, or like backup cores, but I think they only do like 2 gigs a core or something. They're like lower wattage and everything. So like if you're overloading those original 4, then you'll get some backup, which is helpful. I know there is, but I don't remember what it is. Like, I don't remember who made the, like, what the main brand is or anything. It's been so long. Switching back. Oh. Right, right. Yeah, you might actually, that's not a terrible idea. You might even be able to use it in Adobe as a encoder as well, especially if you're just not doing it for anything else. Yeah, that's all it needs. Right. Right. Okay. Okay, I like that. I like that. Like the average Joe reacting to classical. Ooh. Yes. Oh. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Right, that's fantastic. I love these ideas. Love it, love it, love it. Right. It did very well. I'm like over 20,000, I think, on that one. So that's got us a huge place pointer there. So yeah, that's why I was like, if we could do other unboxing and reviews and even like old retro things, that is a huge pull. So, okay. Oh, right, right. Uh-huh. Okay. Huh. Okay, yeah, yeah. Those are becoming popular again. So, yeah. Yep. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I would think that's a great idea, especially because people don't even realize you can still, you know, develop film and do all that stuff at like most local stores, like Walmart's and Myers and stuff will do all of that. How you can just, you know, digitally send it off after you've scanned it in or whatever. Poof, it's printed or whatever, you know, so. Right, right, and you can totally still do that. I think the prices aren't terrible either, but I think it depends on where you go and what they have available, so. Yeah. Right. Sorry, give me a second here. All set. Okay, guys, let's jump in here. Let's do this intro video. And I just realized it's been like almost 10 minutes of us in the waiting room. But that's okay. No one's jumped in there just yet, so that's good. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Cookies Enabled. I'm your host, Will, again. And again, as just same as last time, I have Jake and Scott here. And I know this is going to be very familiar to everybody if you watched our last stream, which you're going to be like, didn't we already talk about this? Like, why are we doing this again? Well, it's because every time I switch to my spare screen to show you guys images, unfortunately, it was like cutting all our audio out. So to add in the full experience, I thought we should reshoot this on our next live stream, which was supposed to be last week. Life happened and it ends up being this week. No big deal. No big deal. Here we are. So, and we got tons of more videos coming down the pipe stream. I know I've I've got 2 coming down. Andrew's got a bunch of great ideas, and it's just going to be endless videos probably for the next couple of months, which is great. So brace yourselves, everybody, because it's going to be fun. So, and as I said,
well, that now that we're getting into the slower season, I actually have time to do so.
Right. Yeah.
So that's gonna.
Everybody's like,
definitely.
Christmas isn't the slower season. What's happening? No, for Michigan. It technically is. Yeah, it slows down a little bit here. At least like in the rural areas and stuff, and the beach houses and stuff aren't busy at all. But yeah, like the major cities and downtowns will be bustling for sure. Everybody flocks back to their home areas for that fun stuff. But luckily, we will be still recording, and I got some videos coming for you guys. I'm going to cover some coma questions. I know that sounds exciting, but from someone who's actually been in a coma, now I can actually regurgitate some of that experience to you guys, and I think that'll be
quite a while. Remember that?
It has. Yeah. You came to visit me when I was in the coma. I think you were one of the few. So yes, you are definitely here to voice the positivity of me still being here, because it was very close of me not being here several times, unfortunately. But yeah, so the story isn't going to be how I got into the coma. It's going to be more or less what it was like inside, what was the recovery like, and that's really what I want to focus on, because that's what I feel like Hollywood gets horribly wrong, and gives everybody a real bad impression that comas are great and you can be in them for years and just come right out and jump right up and go. No, I'm telling you. So that's where the video will discuss all of that. So I also have a few other ones coming down the line that I'm still writing, but that will only be a couple more weeks before those are done. And Scott's got some amazing ideas with his partner. And man, I cannot wait, because that's going to be fantastic. I don't know do we want to give people a little heads up as to what's coming with it's a more of a musical side to Cookies and Able.
Yeah. Which... we've had him on the channel before discussing 1 or 2 of his favorite pieces, and I had the idea, everybody does react videos,
right?
So I want to find some really great recordings of either more Western music, classical pieces, or music videos, more contemporary. Right. He's never seen, and have him just react to it. And he also wants to flip that and find some of his favorite that I've never seen and have me react.
Which is perfect.
So we have 2 ideas there. I've got some vintage item reviews or unboxing coming as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, we got some, I think, some cool things in the pipeline.
And I'm sure Jake will have some amazing new updates for us. And let's dive right into why we have Jake here on the show. Now, I know I said that we've already discussed this last time, but for those that didn't see the show and might see it this time, we're going to pretty much start all over. So, Jake, you were recently invited to be a part of a local powwow. And let's just dive right in. Explain how that all went down, and a little bit of the history of the group here, and let's just go from there.
Okay. Well, basically how it all started was this is the first aid station that I got to do. And last year I was a spectator at this powwow, and I certified for the first.
Right.
From one of the spectators that I basically state station, if that's a possibility. Yep, there I am right there. So I thought it was a good idea, but I never thought it was something that would be possible, because a lot of the events that happen down here are ran by the fire department, if they have like a first aid station or medical tent.
Sure.
So I didn't think it was something that would happen, but I contacted the right people and ended up getting not hired, because it was volunteer based, but I got if I wanted to do the first aid station, at the Powwow, so I got to do that this year. And the event's put on by the American Indian Association of Detroit, and
Mm-hmm.
in the Detroit area. So yeah, so it's pretty interesting. This powwow has been happening for 19 years. This was the 19th year. It started in 2004, and it started off as just something really small, and then it kind of got bigger and bigger over time.
Right. Now, do you think next
And
year is going
now-
to be a huge, a bigger get together since it's kind of like a 10-year anniversary of their start, or do you think it'll be just like all the
They're
other ones?
talking about it. Well, they want to get it bigger. This event is only a one-day event, and when it first started, it was just basically kind of like they called it kind of like a, you know, when you're in Boy Scouts and you go to like a museum and
Right.
they put on like a Native American dance or something.
Right.
And that's how it started. It was basically kind of like, let us show you a little of Native American culture, and then
Right.
it quickly turned into a competition, you know, type of an event. You know, so it started off with just kind of like a mock powwow, and then it turned into what it is now.
Okay.
But they only do the dancing for about 4 to 5 hours,
Okay.
and not a lot of people want to travel these days.
That is
from out of state,
yeah, it's
or even within the state lines, to
unfortunately
only dance for a few hours. So they want to build it bigger next year. Is what the plan is,
Right.
or what they want to do. So eventually, they want it to be a pretty big event.
Yeah, if they make it a multi-day event, I think it would draw a lot more people.
I agree.
A lot of it is getting the word out,
Mhm.
the marketing of letting people know this event is even happening. From my perspective, a lot of people seem to just be visiting the park that day and kind of stumbled upon what was happening.
Okay.
And Jake said for some of the dancers and especially for a lot of the vendors,
Right.
you know, you drive several hours to set up a tent.
Right.
You sell some stuff for 4 hours, pack up. Event that would be a lot more beneficial for not just everybody, all of the vendors and the dancers, but for the community as well. And I think they can do it. I honestly think they can. It's been what, 17 years, right, Jake?
19. This is the
Right.
19th.
So this will be the big
think-
2-0 for them.
15 live ones because a few of them were during COVID.
Okay. Okay.
Which apparently, and the one of the photos that you have on the screen right now of her dancing
Okay.
was something that I learned came out of COVID. They do
Yeah.
online competitions where you would dance, and
Huh.
film,
Yeah.
and then after they started doing them live again,
Right.
whoever won at the yearly powwows would also submit, and this has only happened for the last few years.
Sure.
They'll also submit a video at the end dancing that they will post online to basically an international
Wow.
organization
Wow.
where they
okay.
can need to win there as well, not just locally.
Huh.
We had there were some issues with this
Well.
one, some audio issues trying to find the right
As always.
cables,
As always.
but they did end and it was fantastic. So that was an extra thing
Huh.
that came out of the pandemic for
Wow.
them,
Cool.
of being able to share their skills and their talents and their art
Right.
internationally on instead of just at the local event. So that was very cool to watch.
Well, and kudos to them for adapting to the situation at hand, you know, because so many businesses
Oh,
could
a lot
not
of-
do that.
every-
So
Yeah.
for them to,
I think that's the positive that came out
Right.
of the pandemic, I think, is, you know, people got this new platform to express themselves in ways that,
mhm,
you know, because powwows are not held, okay, I guess there are year-long powwows,
Right.
but like a powwow like this one only happens every
Okay.
September. So, you know, it's not that often that
it's like,
people get together and things of that sort. And the powwow was canceled. This actually would have been, it would have been more than 20 powwows. Actually, I think this year would have been the 20th
Wow.
because during the pandemic they couldn't do it that
Okay.
September. After the shutdown and
Right.
everything,
I didn't think about it like
that
that.
was the
Yeah. Huh.
yeah. So I like the fact that they're starting to use these platforms to continue teaching the culture.
Right. I
You
agree.
know,
I think that is exactly the whole reason why we came up with these platforms was to not only hold our knowledge but to share it and to spread it and allow it to be part of the community. That's the whole idea of the internet. So it made sense that when we're locked away, the internet was there to still connect us and bring us together. And allow these kinds of powwows to still happen, even in terribly sad times, unfortunately. So,
Well, you
yeah,
you saw that in so many different aspects of life, not just
right.
education, but um, in
Oh,
concerts and
right.
things that brought people together. Um, the majority of the cast of The Princess Bride did a re-recording line for line from their
Yeah, I
homes.
forgot about that. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Put a link in for that. I've watched
Yeah.
it. It's actually quite entertaining to watch
Oh,
these old actors revisit their roles.
oh, I'm sure. I'm
But
sure that's like a
yeah,
huge part of it. It's like being behind the scenes a little bit.
yeah, that was one of the things I think that came out of the pandemic. And Jake is right, was an entirely new platform expressing for just artistic expression. You
Mhm.
at least something good came from, you know.
Right. Now, and I'm glad that they didn't just straight up say we're just going to completely postpone the event and wait, until this all blows over. Because a lot of them assumed, oh, this will only be a couple of months at most, and then it was 2 years later we're like finally
But
removing restrictions and stuff. So, you know,
we thought it'd be 2 weeks,
right,
2 or 3.
right,
Andy and I packed a bunch of cat food and cat litter and came up to his parents thinking we'll be back this month at the most.
right.
And we were here for 4. It,
Yep. So luckily, well, hopefully it does not happen again. And I feel like things will be better in the future here. But now let's talk a little bit more about the future with Jake especially and with Scott because both of you guys are going to be mostly involved in one way or another. It sounds like with the next big powwow. So what exactly what will your roles be? Sorry for me stuttering there. at the next powwow that's coming up this coming 2024 September.
well, first, I
uh,
say I am
go ahead.
incredibly proud of Jake for the role that he took on that day. When you have a medical tent like that, when you have first aid on site, obviously you don't want to use it.
Right, right,
But we learned this year it was a very smart idea. And I think it opened their eyes to the fact that it's something that's necessary.
right.
I got to watch him in action, and it was, coming from the perspective of a big brother, it was very, very cool to see how well he reacted. Obviously,
Right.
we can't share a lot of the details. He can give you the basics of the story, though.
Right.
But I have to say he did a very impressive job. He stayed cool under pressure.
And that's not easy to do, especially when you got public watching you not far away, and there's a lot on the line. We're talking lives at stake potentially. Now, again, you can't really dive totally into the details here because of laws that prevent us from doing so. We'll just put it at that. But
Um, yeah, I can't get into details about what happened, but let's just say there is this kind of like urban legend or a saying within when you're doing medical stuff, don't say the Q word, and the Q word is
okay.
quiet. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that word was said,
Oh no. Oh
and
no.
about because
Two
like
minutes
how
later,
the
2 minutes later.
Oh god. It probably wasn't even.
and
It was like 90 seconds or something.
The ironic part about how this whole thing played out was the fire department had actually sent an ambulance to be staged if something serious were to happen. So my role was basically, helping with like the minor
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
And if someone got into like a lethal rhythm to start the resuscitation process,
Absolutely.
but they would be there on site, so we wouldn't have to wait for an ambulance to respond. They would be right there.
Right.
But they had gotten the call and had left. And I'm like, okay, nothing's happened. It's, it's quiet. Because it's quiet.
You said the danger word.
About 2 minutes later, one of the workers tapped me on the shoulder and was like, someone's having an emergency. So I got up, grabbed my gear, which is I had an AED, and then I had which I have it here. I had this like,
oh, that's right. Yeah,
red
show us.
trunk.
Cool.
Yeah. And of course I was wearing a stethoscope as well.
All came in
So
handy.
I ran over there.
Yep.
Yeah. I ran over there. I can't get into details, but a lady was having a medical problem. It's kind of serious at first. So I called my brother. I called him because, he was doing his photography. He was completely unaware that I got engaged. And he came out, and ambulance came, and don't know how her condition is because I haven't been able to be told. It was kind of scary, and like you said at the a little while ago, you got to put it into perspective. I just got my recertification a week ago.
Right.
Certified. They don't teach you how to handle the crowds or how to deal with distraught family. She with her daughter, and her daughter was freaking out the whole time.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I can imagine that's a pretty traumatic experience.
To have a whole crowd of people, because this was in an area where everyone was eating.
Okay.
And everyone stopped what they were doing and was basically looking at you. And, I don't want to compare it to like a musician on stage in front of 1,000 people or whatever, but that's what it kind of felt like. Like the spotlight was kind of on you. Like if you do anything wrong, there's no denying it, because you're going to have all these people who are, watching what you're doing. So it definitely put that into a new perspective. But
that goes to an entirely new level. If you're a musician and you play a wrong note on stage, you're not facing free to someone or a lawsuit.
Right.
Right.
Repercussions potentially, aren't going to be done because of a wrong note or two, So.
And I believe, and I'm sure Jake would agree, that maybe that's a reform that we need in first aid instruction, or at least I know that taught during, it's taught in medical school. There's a lot of psychology classes and dealing with people. I think first aid, that should be a reform, teaching people how to deal with the families.
Right.
You see, in first aid, they teach you how to handle the emergency. They teach you, to recognize scene safety. So like if someone's got a gun or a knife or, they're threatening to beat you up, or a person is in, is drowning, but, like take Lake Michigan, for example, where the waves get really big.
That's a perfect example.
I'm not jumping into Lake Michigan to save somebody. I'm not going to do that. But, those are the basic things they teach. They don't teach you how to deal with, don't let my mother die, or, someone telling you you're not doing a good job, or whatever the situation is with the family, because, and I understand it, because, I've been there with my own family, like my mom and stuff, and I know what it's like to be in that situation where, someone you love is having an emergency.
Right.
Like if it was my brother that went down that day, given my training, I would be out of my mind.
Unconsolable, probably, yeah.
But, so I sympathized with, the family in this situation, but it was hard for me because they don't teach you that stuff. They teach you how to help the person having the emergency and keep that person calm, not the people that are around.
Right. So, do you think this will be a little bit more a perspective as to what to expect at future events now that you've had a little bit of a precursor, I guess, at this event of it wasn't like a totally flawless event where everybody was healthy and there weren't any incidents, obviously. So do you think this will help you in the future with?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I definitely feel like, everything that happens is a lesson.
Right.
And the lesson in this is that, this definitely taught me that I'm capable of handling,
Right.
whatever gets thrown at me in the moment. How I handle it afterwards, that's another story. But
Right.
in the moment, if I need to get something done, I got to get it done. If someone needs that life-saving care, I'm going to provide it in the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you got to do your duty. That's the whole point, and that's why they do that, and why we commend you all for, all first responders for being so courageous and just doing what most of us couldn't even dream of doing. I mean, for the most part, like running into burning buildings and saving dying people is not an easy everyday job.
That's something I want to add too. Is I'm only certified in first aid and CPR and AED.
Right.
I thought about getting into becoming like a EMT or a paramedic.
Sure.
But my biggest trigger for my mental health issues is death.
Okay.
Especially,
Yep.
if it's a child that's dying in front of you.
Mm.
Running a first aid station or volunteering at an event, the likeliness of that happening is low. It can still happen.
Right. We're not ruling it out completely.
I thought this whole situation was actually going to end up being one of those situations, but
luckily it didn't.
Exactly. But if I were to do that as a full-time job, I would be exposed to that every single day.
Right.
Right. And I don't think I would be able to handle, the death and the trauma that comes with that. So, that's the only reason why I have the first aid certification, is because I can't do paramedicine like you just mentioned with first responders. These people, they put themselves in these situations every day.
Right.
And a lot of them do it simply because they want to do that. And, they're underpaid and underappreciated.
Yeah.
The whole system needs to be overhauled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, they do a job that not a lot of people would want to do.
That is true. And we again commend them for that, and for you, because you're going to be doing those events and whatnot in the future. So again, thank you for that. But let's take a little side detour here, and we'll jump off topic completely and do some internet memes. How about that? Because we haven't done that yet today. I'm sorry?
We always love those.
God, yes. And we've got some fantastic ones this week.
By the way, if you want to think about how many memes I have, instead of having to scroll through my phone whenever I want to share one with someone at work, I made an album.
Oh, God.
Called me. I'm over 1,000.
Oh, no. Oh,
Easier,
man. Oh.
And it's a little easier, but there are over 1,000 images on my phone that are memes.
We might have to just do a meme video here of just a bunch of memes and us just discussing how funny they are.
Sharing them. I like that idea.
Oh, man.
Really bad ones. I'll show you a few of the offensive ones that we can't put on YouTube.
Right. Unfortunately, yeah. There's definitely some.
Some of them are terrible. Some of them are like I almost feel bad for laughing at them.
Oh yeah, no,
I'll send you a few of those.
Yes, please do.
Good idea.
Behind the scenes stuff here, but we'll jump right in with one of Scott's first ones here. Let me give this a second to do the transition, since these are not small images, and I don't want to lose everybody. So the first one we got here for everybody is OMG, I love you in Jurassic Park. And this is perfect because she literally looks like one of the the dinosaurs from the movie. She's about to spray ink all over us.
Dilophosaurus.
Yes, thank you.
They don't know for sure if it had the frill
Oh,
but
really?
they paleontologists are not 100% sure
Oh.
if it had the big. Quite possibly yes, but no conclusive evidence, and
Huh.
most likely did not spit men.
Really?
It
Wow.
was just a
Oh,
small predator.
that's saddening a little because, man, it's scary looking in Jurassic Park. So it's a little sad that they took some of the fun out of it. Damn science. But that's okay.
But still, the dress spot on. It's perfect.
It is. It's absolutely perfect. I love this. Thank you for sharing that with us. We have another one here from Scott coming right in. I'll do this one here.
I picked specifically for Jake
This one is for Jake. The next one here, is that what you're saying?
because of something he posted on Facebook a little bit ago.
Okay, and it says historic photo of children listening to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. And it's, I mean, this is hilarious because if you know what this is actually a picture of, you know that's not actually what they're doing. But man, it does look like it.
I hate that song. I like Mariah Carey. She's got some good songs.
She's
Don't get me
amazing.
wrong.
Yeah, but
See,
But this particular song,
it's
it's
one,
so overplayed. They play it every time. They play it way too early.
Yeah.
It's just it's annoying. I can't stand it.
oh, they
It
do.
literally looks like nails on a chalkboard.
They do.
It's the most horrible song I think I've ever heard in my life. It should be a crime. It should be illegal
Yeah.
to play that song on the radio.
it really honestly should.
When I worked at Monkey,
And I would do that if I was
now,
listening
we'd
to
have
that
Christmas
song.
stuff in the back room. It always comes earlier every year. I swear.
Every year. I mean, it's not even Halloween yet. It's played in most stores, I feel like, already.
Yep.
Oh, man.
It's just
It is.
That's
The issue. Oh, man. Well, okay, so...
That's a loud voice she does. That
Yeah.
Scream tries to do.
Yeah.
It's like a
She
dying
kind of draws that song out a little bit. It's a little longer than it needs to be, and then the radio just loves to overplay the crap out of it. So you can like try changing the station, but that really won't make a difference.
Let's be
that grandma when she got ran over by her enemy.
There's some really bad ones out there. That one is not the worst.
Yeah, that's actually pretty subtle, I feel. I feel like this is very subtle. This is really just the children bracing for like a tornado warning or something, or an earthquake possibly. I don't see any books over the heads, which I feel like is an earthquake thing, but maybe I'm wrong.
Either tornado drill or, given the age, it could have been a nuclear drill.
Yeah, I was gonna say this could be old retro photo as well, you know. I was thinking tornado drill, but yeah, that would work. Okay, our next one here is one of the ones I brought in, and this one's a little bit funnier. It's kind of got a little video game thing going on here. It says when you're pooping for so long that the automatic bathroom light turns off, and it shows the guy pulling his glasses off his head, and he says Bravo 6 going dark. Which this has happened to me numerous times at work, especially since they just redid the bathrooms. They're like hypersensitive, so if you stand still for more than like 10 seconds, it turns the lights off. Like you gotta like move and make noise and stuff. I'm sure you guys have been in similar situations.
Let's be honest, though. You're not even pooping that long. You're sitting on the phone.
Pretty much, it's just like a mini micro break, you know. You just get to sit down and rest your feet for a second, let everything out, and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna catch my breath. Oh.
Well, what's the phrase? Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I poop on company time.
Yep. Oh man, I haven't heard that one in a minute, but yes, you are right. Oh man. Now the next one we have here is another one I brought in as well. And let me see if this will load for you guys. This video is this picture is pretty big. Now this one is kind of a hit. I know these are still posted in some neighborhoods, but it says if you can read the sign, I had to kind of compress the photo down so you can see the lovely man standing below. But it says warning. It says this area is protected by the neighborhood watch, and it shows the guy standing there with his little trench coat and his hat. Looks just like the guy in the photo. Which is that supposed to be a photo of the burglar, or is that supposed to be of a picture of the neighborhood watch? That was always my question.
Yeah, I never understood that. Where I live in my neighborhood, we have a neighborhood watch, but it's all volunteers. like
Right.
all the people that live here. Like, my dad's actually done it, and I've
Okay.
done it myself. But yeah, we have the same
But-
signs,
I think
with
it's
the same
supposed
logo.
to be a
And I've always wondered what that was.
Like, so you're not sure if that's
like
supposed to be the
old
burglar?
school. I think it's supposed to be
I would assume
like
maybe.
film noir detective.
Oh.
You know,
Oh.
with aura.
thing.
That would
Yeah.
make a lot more sense. I didn't even think about it like that, but yeah, like a Dick Tracy kind of noir, like you're saying, I think that would totally fit. That makes more sense than burglar.
On Google Dick Tracy. You've probably never heard of him.
Yes, if you don't know who I'm referencing, please reference or Google search Dick Tracy. You will never regret it. It's awesome.
Fun fact: I have a watch face
Do you?
of Dick.
Is it the old school? Can you like push it? Does it have a radio or anything in it?
Oh, it doesn't. It just looks like.
Oh
it,
man! So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In the show, he had like
Look at that.
pretty much he had an Apple
Yeah,
Watch. It was so cool. Anyway, sorry. Next one here is from Jake. Let me see if this one will load. These are also photos, so that might take a second to pop up. Hopefully, I get this right. There we go. Okay, and oops. Okay, so now this one says, no matter how big a hammer you use, you can't pound common sense into stupid people. And I absolutely love this. And what I actually think is kind of funny, I don't know if this was intended, but it almost looks like a headstone. Is that correct, Jake?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It is.
It is? This is a headstone, huh?
I believe
Wow.
so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that really adds to the comedy value, I feel like, here, because really, if that is the last statement you want people to know about you and your life, what did you go through? This poor man or woman or whoever, like, my goodness. Like,
I'm guessing in retail.
oh yes, they could have been in a retail. That would make sense. I was thinking maybe they just had really dumb kids or something, and they just got tired of beating knowledge into them. I don't know.
No, they worked in retail or restaurant. I guarantee.
You know what? Yeah.
Well, speaking of the pandemic, that's one thing about the pandemic is it really showed just how stupid people are.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, it really did.
And we get dumber and dumber every day. Every day we get dumber
Yeah,
and dumber.
unfortunately, it is true. It is so true. That's just one reason why I started this show, was to kind of get rid of the misinformation and try to get some real truth out there on the web. So thank you both for supporting the channel.
In today's world, I believe,
Yes.
when you have to ask if your spinach is gluten free, you know,
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Okay, now you got one last one here for us. It's not necessarily funny. It might be a little morbid, but not necessarily at the same time. It's more of a reality shock / check for people. So I really like this one, and that's why I wanted to share it. We're not an opinion channel, but that doesn't mean we don't have opinions. So I will just say that. But yes, Jake, I do like this one a lot. Actually, it says the one side it says Israel on the dotted line, and then those people are holding a sign that says "We are not." And I actually cannot fully read this. It's really tiny. I should have blown this picture up bigger.
we are.
We are
Netanyahu.
not Yahoo.
Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry. I was gonna say Neanderthal, but I was like, I don't think that's what that says. Anyway, and then the other side, I'm like, I don't think that's right at all. Now the other side, it says Gaza on the dotted line, and those people are saying holding a sign that says "We are not Hamas." So that should kind of put some things in perspective, because behind them, it's all rubble. So
You know, the thing is about it, real quick, is like I have to look at this as a human aspect.
absolutely.
You know, war is war, and no matter what country it starts in, there's going to be innocent people caught up in it. But this particular conflict, people have been, you know, even people in my own family have been taking sides on, you know,
Yeah.
Are you pro-Israel, pro-Gaza? If you know, are against the Israeli attack on Gaza, then you're, you know, anti-Semitic because you support what Hamas did. And the thing is it's like, you can live in a country and not support the government.
Absolutely, yeah.
I live in the United States, but I don't agree with 99.9% of what the government does.
Right.
But I still love my country and love, you know, the people that live in it, you know, the good people that live in it. And there's good people on either side of this conflict, you know.
Yeah.
They're we all bleed red. We're all human beings.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah, yeah. I agree.
What that is for me is it's, you know, we're not pro this, we're not pro that. We just happen to live in this particular part of the world. Doesn't mean that we're bad people because we live there.
No, exactly. And I feel like that's been a big push from the media has been to pick a side, choose a side.
It's always been divisive.
Yes, yes.
We actually just finished watching recently a Doctor Who episode dealing with the Saigon invasion, and there was a speech in there about these wars of when you fight for your war and you have the world that you wanted, what's next?
Right.
What are you going to do after you conquer? You're going to always want to keep conquering.
Right.
And how many innocent lives have been lost for what you did, when at the end of the day, no matter what war it is, at the end you're going to have to do what.
Right. Right.
You know, always the innocent are the first to die.
Always. Yeah.
It's not about political ideologies anymore. It's not about Palestine versus Israel. It's not anti-Semitic. It's people are innocent people with families.
Right.
People with children, with grandparents, with pets, on both sides, who, like Jake said, probably don't agree with everything that their government's doing.
Right.
They're still down. Nothing changes that.
Yeah.
Some of them are probably have some skewed ideals, and
oh yeah,
they're fighting for the right cause. But
right.
No matter what, on both sides, in every conflict ever, in World War II, there, how many German lives were innocent?
Oh.
Who hated what their government was doing?
I don't think they even have a number.
How many of them died, and they had nothing to do with the Nazi Party? They did not share those ideals. They just happened to have been born in Germany.
Right.
How many people here, 9/11, every single conflict, the innocent that are lost.
Yeah, it's...
Well, to go back on, there were Muslim people on 9/11 that helped out at the Trade Center. There were Muslim doctors. There were Muslim paramedics. There were, there
were mosques that opened their doors for people to shelter in. It's not about religion anymore.
No.
It's not about
it's
ideology. It's about people.
Yeah.
And I think so many people forget that and just see
it's
one regime versus another.
It's really,
and they don't realize.
I feel like it's more like the leaders are the ones that are forgetting it, and they're the ones that are like, oh, it's always about the religion and it's about the war, and we'll worry about the people later. And I'm like, no, you got to kind of worry about them all the time. That's literally your job, is to be the leader of the people. Like, and you're failing at that. But so yeah.
I'll wait for the truck to drive by because that's loud. But no, that 2-year-old Palestinian child has no opinion on Israel.
Right.
They don't.
And that's what I'm focusing on with that meme. Is it's more of the innocent people.
Right. Right.
I agree that Hamas needs to be eradicated. I completely agree with that. Just like here in the United States, on both sides, Democrat or Republican, whatever, extremism in any sort is not okay.
Right.
As far as like violence.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's a lot of innocent people that are getting caught up in this conflict, and people are so, well, they attacked Israel, so they deserve it. And it's like, well, the guilty people do, not the innocent people do.
Perhaps their government deserves something. Perhaps the people propagating such atrocities deserve something, but the people, they don't.
Yeah.
They're people. Like you and me.
This photo specifically reminds me of the V for Vendetta movie, because they bring up the fact that artists use lies to tell the truth while politicians use them to cover up the truth. That's a really good perspective, because that's exactly what this is doing. It's almost trying to use satire to bring truth to reality. You know what I mean? By putting it in this little cartoon box. So I love that, because it's really pushing the boundaries and the limits there. And I just had to look up that quote because, like, man, it's been so long since I watched that movie. But if you haven't seen V for Vendetta, please check that movie out as well. It is right up the alley of what's going on, pretty much. So it'll really kind of help shed some light. And if you haven't, it's a great movie. I think it's on one of the streaming services right now. I'm not sure which one.
Oh, it's definitely somewhere.
It's got to be on either Netflix or Hulu. It's a Halloweenish kind of movie as well, because it's kind of gruesome and dark and scary. It did come out in the fall too. I don't remember exactly what month. I actually saw that one in the theater. I loved that movie. Anyway, so when can we expect another powwow, and how can people find out if there are local powwows near them? Let's get back to our main topic here real quick, and because I think we have the links for people to check out where they can find their local powwow.
Well, like I mentioned before, the American Indian Association of Detroit, that's a good resource for powwows.com.
Yep.
That's another one. They have a calendar. If you're interested in Canadian dates, they have, I believe, Canadian powwows and stuff too that you can go find out about. There's another one, the Gathering of Nations. It happens in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I got to go about a year ago. That's the biggest powwow in the United States. Over 2,000 dancers at one time in this big arena. So, if you want to link the Gathering of Nations, they can check it out on the website. If they're interested. Yeah, so those are all the sources. The North American Indian Association.
I got their Facebook and their main website on there, as well as the Find a Powwow website on there for everybody as well. So hopefully those links will be helpful. They're all found down below.
Well, this particular powwow is not really that well advertised.
Okay.
They advertise it on Facebook, but it's you can't look it up on Google.
Right. Right.
Which is something that I think could change in the future.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, we're hoping. I obviously visited this event with Jake. I never powwow before. It was an absolutely mind-blowing experience. It was so much fun.
It sounds like it. It looks great. I'll show some more pictures while we're talking here.
Nothing but actually been to one.
Sure.
Like, the photos don't even do it justice.
I know. I wish I had some videos and stuff too, but next time maybe.
Exactly. It is an absolutely fantastic experience, and I would love for everybody to go and see one of these. And we need to get the word out more.
Yeah.
I showed up. I brought my camera just for fun. I took a bunch of photos. Most of these are mine.
Yeah, I got some photos of you taking photos. Let me show people.
Next be going back with Jake, and I want to get even more. I'd like this to be eventually an official thing.
Right.
I've got a few ideas I want to work with them on. Like Jake said, marketing, getting their name out there, because a lot of people don't know about it. I'd love to see 3, 4, 5 times as many people there next year.
Right.
That would be fantastic. And
I think that's a doable thing as well.
We're just with coming off the coattails of Indigenous Peoples Day, and this is the time to kind of get some education out there on these Native American cultures.
Right.
Jake apparently through some of the DNA tests found out he has a little bit of Native blood. I do
Yep.
from the Mexicos.
I was say I probably have a drop in me. I have not done my DNA test yet, but I know I have some in me because if you see my mom's side of the family and my aunts, it's distinct. You can obviously see it in the blood. So I know I've got it in me, but I don't think it's probably one hundredth or
But
one
it,
thousandth of me or something. So
something we need to educate people need to learn more about it.
yes,
It is the beginning of North America.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, it is.
sorry, Christopher Columbus.
And coming from
We're not monetized, so I can say this: Christopher Columbus can go fuck himself.
Yes, we are not monetized, and nor are we sponsored for that particular reason. Sorry, everybody.
and the reason why I stick up two middle fingers is because I grew up in the culture, and I've been attending powwow since the age of 3 years old. Actually,
Right.
is when I went to my very first one. In fact, I don't even remember my mom telling me that I was still in like a stroller at that time.
Oh wow!
So
And you remember that, huh? Wow, that's.
I don't remember.
Oh, you
No, I
don't? I
don't
thought you said you
remember
did. I was
that.
like, man,
But he was there.
your memory is amazing.
Yeah. That's a
It's
story.
a very
No, not at all.
inclusive community. They,
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
it's not gate. It's not like gatekeeping a community. They're open to anybody.
Right.
They want
Yeah.
to see this,
Right.
and
Well, like an example of that really quickly would be in the Native American culture, and this kind of is relevant to, me and my brother.
Sure.
Gay people are considered what they call two-spirit.
Right.
And,
right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I found out about that because I used to go to Sweat Lodge and
Mhm.
other ceremonies, and I was considered a two-spirit.
Right.
And
not just gay,
yeah,
trans.
lesbian, transgender,
Right.
and even people who identify as bisexual. It was originally a saying for transgender people,
Sure.
but then it kind of became an umbrella term for the whole community. So
Sure.
there's actually a movie on Disney Plus. It's a short film. It's called The Roof,
Mm.
and it stars Wes Studi, who was in Dances with Wolves. I just watched it.
Okay.
But there's a scene at the end where there's a powwow, and it's all two-spirited people,
Oh wow. Cool.
and it's a tearjerker, but it's a beautiful
Oh,
film.
yeah.
So and not only that, but also they're inclusive to people who have disabilities,
Right. Right.
physical and mental. When I went to the powwow in Albuquerque, there were a lot of families who had kids with Down syndrome and stuff, and
Mhm.
they were included in everything and
As well
made
as
to
they should
feel
be. Yep. Yep.
exactly, and made to feel like they are whole.
Mhm.
And like
Mhm.
going back to what my brother said, me and him don't have a lot of Native in us.
Sure.
We have enough where we can pass as Native,
Right.
but not enough where we qualify as a tribe, kind of a thing.
Oh, sure.
But they didn't care.
And they
That's
didn't
fantastic, though.
Just,
Yeah.
They were very
It wasn't like they
good.
were like, who are these? Half white, half this.
Right.
It was none of that.
You're not part of this group or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just welcome,
There's-
kind of thing. Is what it sounds like, which
We
is fantastic.
were made to feel like we've always been a part of that community.
Right, which is awesome.
Like it doesn't matter if you have under 1% or just a tiny little drop. That
Sure.
Indigenous is indigenous, no matter what the percent is.
Right. Right.
And that we're all human beings. We're all sacred.
Which is so cool, and it sounds like this is so. It's not
No,
just a powwow; it's got a whole competition going on. It's welcome to the public. I mean, I wish this was a
Well, that's
multi-day
what-
event. It's just so cool.
At this
Mission.
powwow, there was an individual they allowed to dance in the circle at one
Oh.
point. He was not a Native American
Really?
necessarily. He was an indigenous he was from an indigenous people, I believe, somewhere in the Middle East,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow!
where not
Okay.
necessarily native, but native to his country.
Huh.
Basically, the people that settled that area, not
Right,
white.
right. Not the
like,
colonists,
they would've allowed-
essentially.
They would have allowed an Inuit or a
Right.
Maori even from New Zealand.
Sure.
I'm sure they've been allowed into that circle because they were still a native person of that
Right.
nation. It's not just North American Indian.
Right.
It's a tribe.
Right, absolutely. I mean, which is so cool. I mean, that they're that inclusive with everybody. You know, it's hard to find groups like that. So it's refreshing to find one that's so open and ready for everybody, it seems. So that's super exciting. And that's why I'm hoping this little, you know, shout out onto the web is a little bit of a push to people to check things out and see what's in their area. I know a lot of people that watch this channel are all over the world. So check out the links,
Maybe
you know.
We can do an episode on the whole, like we can film all day, do some interviews, and just do a big feature story on that. That could be fun.
I might as well. I mean, it sounds fantastic. I should just grab my little laptop and a little portable power station and come up there and see what I can find. I mean,
You should tell it for
why not? Why not?
Let's bring them back here. Get them down there.
I'll try to get the time off of work and come over. I usually work weekends, so that would be the trick for me. But if it's only the one day, I can totally do that. So that's not so bad.
So you can always put in a good request.
Exactly. I'll have plenty of time, so I'm not too worried about that. But yes, check out the links that we have posted, and I will try to update that as the years come and as we get closer to September 2024. If they get more updates and stuff, I'll try to change that out in case this is a highly viewed video. But we did have some people check out the previous one. I think we had about 30 to 40 views, somewhere in that range, which for us is in our live streams is actually pretty high. So thank you for the few people that did tune in. It was pretty huge. Hopefully this one comes through better. I think this one should look a lot better and hopefully sound better. That's the whole idea. So but again, definitely don't forget to check out our videos that will be coming out later this week and next week and the week after. We're going to have a bunch of new stuff coming out. I'm going to try to do some more live streams with our buddies here as well, and we'll keep you guys in the loop. I know it's been a while since we've done like a SpaceX update or anything like that, so we'll have to jump back into that here as well pretty soon.
There's stuff coming up. They've been quiet. Starlinks all the time.
Right.
I think it is about time for a SpaceX update because there's been a lot of news.
It has been some time.
So.
It has been some time, but that's okay. I mean, it's time for us to kind of change things up anyway. So that's why we're doing this. That's why we took that break. So that was very helpful. And
we can do a space focused Wednesday.
Yes, there we go. We'll have to do that for sure. But I want to say thank you to Jake for coming along and tuning in again for us this week, and for Scott as well. And thank you, the viewer. Again, don't forget to check out our previous videos that we've done over the years as well. And tune in and keep an eye on our Facebook as well for any updates and newer videos that are coming out down the line. But thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you all next time.
everybody.
Oh, yeah. I thought that went really well. Way to go, everybody. I think we actually hit our 2-year mark about a month or so ago. So yeah, and we weren't doing any videos. I was like,